streaming again because I can see you on OBS again. Can you say something?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, I can hear you. So I think we are good. Let me just double check. YouTube. And they should be able to see you now. There you go. Now they can see you on TikTok. Okay, anyways, go ahead. What were you saying with Richard Carrier?
Yeah, I was just saying that as far as the article goes, because he just wrote basically a review of not just like us. He mentions us, but he mentions a lot of people within stylometric analysis findings and whatnot. Um, so Richard Carrier is not a data scientist. He is a scholar, and so he's definitely going to try his best to try to put down this kind of stuff because it's something that while we ultimately agree with him on a lot of things, I think the main problem is the fact that um, this is something that's more empirical. It's something that's more black and white. He's a scholar. He's got a job to protect. That kind of thing. Um, and not a lot of a job, by the way. But that being said, as far as stylometry goes, he questions our book a lot and basically calls it bullshit. Or not necessarily bullshit. It's not necessarily that we're wrong. It's just that we didn't do a very good job. It's sloppy, is what he said. But I think he's more attacking it. He seems to be more attacking it because it's not like a scholarly work, because it's not. We don't claim to be scholars or anything like that. He attacks it, and in one of his attacks, he calls it like pop sci, like just for like a general population kind of book. And that's exactly what we were aiming for. We didn't want to write a scholarly work. But that being said, he also says that we're not peer reviewed and everything like that, which is fine. But we have submitted for peer review, so if we get peer reviewed, then he can eat shit. That's how that works.
Well, it seems like the whole, just my opinion, the whole peer review just really seems like it's more of them just trying to find a way to appeal to authority. It's just what it seems like to
Yeah.
me.
And that makes sense. In general, it does. It really does. But nevertheless, it's still something that, to some degree, is gatekeeping.
Yeah, my internet is struggling tonight. Need to wait for Jaren to come back. I apologize for this. We might need to put this. Oh, there we go.
We good?
My internet is not liking you today. Yeah, yeah, I don't know, but you're still back on. I think everybody could still hear you. So, anyways, we're talking about it being gatekeeping.
Is what the result actually is. No, not at all. And he also, by the way, goes after Savoy. Like he's just not a data scientist, and he's just butthurt that he's not that people disagree with him. That's all that it is. He goes after a bunch of people. He went after unfortunately Chrissy Hansen, the scholar that actually quoted us or cited us twice in her book on Philemon. He went after her because they just have beef for some weird reason. But that's just how it goes.
Yeesh. The scholar is Richard Carrier, Ari. That's who we're talking about, is Richard Carrier. But hey, if you are here, coming on in, we believe that Jesus and Paul never existed. If you disagree, hop on up. Let's talk about it. I'm hoping this pushes out because when I contacted YouTube, they said as soon as you hit 50, it should push out on the shorts. But it doesn't look like it is, and I'm just like, I don't get it. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. As I am wont to say. Let's see. Yeah, we got 5 people over there watching now. Let me check the chat here.
Well,
Hey,
Tony,
there's Storm in
come
here.
on. Yep, Storm's been in here. So, Tony, if you do want to debate, the link is here, tinyurl.com. R&R guest, give that a type. We'll bring you on up and we can definitely talk with you. We'd love to chat with you, but you do need to click the link and we'll talk with you. We'd love to hear you. Here to love your arguments, what your evidence is for the existence of Jesus having existed. Hello. And if you are not following Reason and Rebellion on YouTube, link is in the bio. Go give it a click and go follow us over on YouTube. We're trying to do everything we can to ensure that can get pushed out to the shorts feed. Yep. Are you guys not able to? Because I looked over and I thought I had clicked it so you guys would be able to. I know they can hear on, because I keep checking my volume
They
every
can't hear me.
once in a while. There we go. Now they should.
All right. Hopefully that's
All
better.
right. Tony, come on
Tony
up in the
Cruz,
box.
yeah.
Click the link or go into the link. We'd love to chat with you. Hop up in the box and we'll definitely talk with you. But you need to hop in the box and we'll bring you up.
Yeah, they say it's fixed over there on YouTube, so we should be good.
All right. Yeah, I do have my soundboard hooked up. If the static becomes a thing, I'll just have to go through and disconnect the soundboard from everything, which I hate doing because I want to be able to use the soundboard. But Tony, seriously, link tinyurl.com, R&R guest, hop in the box. We'd love to chat with you. This goes for anybody else that's in there. Well, here, let me do this. I'm going to go quiet for a little bit. I'm just going to turn off the soundboard, see if that helps.
I muted there for a second, so if you guys still heard static throughout the last like 10-20 seconds, and I was on Cyber side. Yeah, it just went out. I don't know what you did, but the static just went away. Chat. God's not dead. I don't think the static is that bad, or at least I'm not hearing it too terribly bad, but that's just me on my end. Mm. Jesus existed and YouTube are going to burn. Man, Storm is coming in hot on YouTube. Speaking of Storm, though, I guess are you dealing with a storm right now? Is that what you're in? I know.
No, I know why I was
But
muted,
yeah,
because if I don't mute, then you get to hear my amazing double voice through going through both my mic and through the soundboard.
lovely.
So hopefully you guys can hear me now. Should oh gotta
No,
go
not on
go hook
TikTok.
my mic up over on TikTok as well. That's the issue with this is I have so many things I have to like click in order for them to be able to hear me. So now they should be able to hear me. Well, so I have to. It's in order to prevent the echoes because I'm trying to stream to 3 different things, but TikTok wants to pick my main mic over everything. So it's bleh. But anyways, those people over there, what was it, Tony or whatever? Click the link. We'd love to chat with you. We don't see you over on.
Now,
Yeah, we don't see anybody popping up. So come on over, little bro. Let's talk. Oh, if you're hearing me as a delay, let me do
no, I can hear myself on TikTok. I don't know what's going on.
do this. This should get rid of the delay, I think. So what it is, the way Video Ninja works is it's a web browser, and then everybody when they pop up as a guest, on my end, I see like myself, and then I'll see them pop up, and then down at the bottom it has a little web address for them, and I copy that web address and I paste it into a source on OBS, and then it just loops it over that way. How you doing, Joyful?
It's okay, kids. I'm here from Miss Michelle. So thank you very much. Miss Michelle is in here.
So yeah, just waiting to see if hopefully we get some people over on YouTube. Apparently, it's not. Maybe we need to get to 100. I don't know. I don't know why it's not pushing this out on the feed, because it uses the exact same settings that I used on Cyber Deconstruction. I don't change any of the settings. It's literally just a whole different scene. So I don't know why it's not pushing out over there.
Hmm.
Oh, and Fricklenberg. But yeah, so Fricklenberg and I have been kind of having a debate in TikTok chat over the DMs over Jesus telling his disciples to steal the donkeys. So yes, Fricklenberg, that's what I was talking about is that Jesus says, hey, when you go to this town, go this area, you're going to see some donkeys, just take them. So he's telling them to take them without asking, and then is like, and by the way, if the owner um confronts you, just tell him you're taking them for me and he'll say okay. But because they're not asking to begin with, that's why it's stealing. And we've
I
got
don't
I think
think
we
that
had
he explains to them that he's going to be okay with it. Does he? He just kind of says, just tell him that the Lord needs him, and then just leaves it at that.
yeah. Yeah.
Like, he more or less he's just kind of leaving it open ended. Like that farmer might still be pissed off, but just tell him the Lord needs him, and who cares?
Yep. So
Your
Ethan,
consent is neither requested nor required.
Yep. So Ethan, if you do want to pop up in the debate, it's going to be tinyurl.com. R&R guest, give that a type into your web browser. We'll bring you up. And if you disagree with the topic, come on up. We'll chat with you about it.
The donkey Messiah rode into Jerusalem on 2 Jesuses. I'm pretty sure the plural of Jesus would be Jesai, I think. On
That's what
2
I was
Jesai.
thinking. Jesai.
Jesai.
Does
Does the
consent
consent
have to be verbal? Yes. If I come into your house and I just assume you gave me permission to make Jaron a sandwich for his next debate, you're going to be pretty upset at me. Yes, Pool Vibes 100% right. 100% for first time encounters.
Miss Michelle says my friend has 2 donkeys. I knew a guy who had a donkey, but not for really any like utility purpose. He just kind of had it because if you have a certain type of animal on your property in certain counties in Texas, then you get like a tax break on your land. And so he just
Right.
had a donkey.
Right. Well, Fricklenberg, the normal answer that I get whenever I bring this up with Christians is, well, he's God. He owns the donkeys anyway, so it's not stealing because they're his anyways. That's normally the answer I get.
How did Okay. All right. So there's so much wrong with that because he very explicitly states that the donkey belongs to someone. So, I mean, i- that's not the argument that's used at all. That's just some kind of weird assertion that people put in there just for the hell of it.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Well, look, if you point to me an honest Christian, I'll point to you an atheist who's lying. Got somebody asking, what about ligers? What about ligers? I don't know what about ligers.
Your tithes belong to him as well. Yeah, the money is already his. So if the money is already his, can't he use it for however he wants, like through everyone else? Like, why does he specifically have to have me hand the money to a church in order for the
Right.
money to be used? Like, why doesn't he just use it however he wants? Like, at the end of the day, a human is going to be selecting where that money goes, anyways. So, I mean, if the if the money belongs to him, just use everyone.
Well, so I brought up, I was in a debate earlier today. Was it? Might have been last night. I believe it was earlier today though. And I asked the guy because they're talking about, the problem of evil. And I was like, well, what happens if people like the people that live on North Sentinel Island who've never heard of Jesus. We know there's some tribes deep in the Amazon who've probably never heard of Jesus. What happens to them? And he's like, well, if you don't know about Jesus, you're going to be judged on your merits. And so I'm like, okay, well, let me give you a hypothetical that says they live in the land of cybernetic. And in this land, they are allowed to say schmurder. That's allowed. We don't care. You're allowed to do it. Are these people who've never heard of Jesus going to make it to heaven? And he wouldn't answer. He couldn't answer it. He kept trying to say, well, their merits, but he just couldn't get me to a straight answer. Um, and then but he's like, "But what's your point anyways?" I'm like, "My point is if we just get judged on our merits, if we don't know about Jesus, I think the most moral thing to do would be to just stop talking about Jesus. And that way, then in a few generations, when no more talking about Jesus, the books don't exist anymore, nobody goes to hell because nobody knows about Jesus. And I think we're doing the most good to the world by just not talking about Jesus anymore." And it like blew his mind. Like that whole idea like blew his mind.
Oh yeah, yeah, because it almost it. Holy Christ! It almost, if you think about it, just makes more sense just to not find out. Like as soon as you find out about Jesus, like that's the moment where shit gets real.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
that was something that I would talk to my parents and to some people at some teachers at my church growing up a lot about, like that idea that like someone could like, because they presented this scenario sometimes at altar calls where you come to church and you hear about God, right? You hear about God, you hear about Jesus, you hear the gospel message, but you don't decide to um repent and everything and become a Christian, right? You don't decide to give your life to Christ. But then you go home that evening. And when you do that, you get in a car accident. You know, what happens? And they say, well, that you would end up going to hell because you heard the message, but you didn't receive it. Like you didn't actually take part. And I was like, well, wouldn't the best thing then just to not tell anybody? that way that
Right.
way they never end up in that weird scenario that you just came up with. Like, I don't know, just even at a young age, I was like, this doesn't really seem like the best thing to do. Then it seems like we should be keeping this. Absolutely, we should put this light under a bushel.
Right. 100%. And
We
like
do have a
I don't
guest.
know. Oh, do we have a guest? All right, let me get it's his name is Bob. And Bob should be popping on in shortly. Can you say something, Bob?
Yeah, I'm here.
Ryan, can we get your age?
I'm 44.
All right. And we're firm believers that Jesus and Paul never existed.
Jesus and Paul are the main creators of the Bible, though.
Thi- All right, so I immediately know who this is, but carry on.
I think I know who this is
I'm a
too.
I'm a pastor in Georgia.
Yeah, we I hear your like South Carolina ass accent. I don't know where it's from, but it's over there around like the Carolinas.
You probably see me there on TikTok, but I just want to say you boys, you're good boys. You two are good boys. I like looking at you. I like seeing you. Hopefully this life goes well for you. But Jesus and Paul both saved my life. I'll talk to you later.
Well, can you send my dad's home at least?
He
Like our
left. He
dads
left.
haven't been home for a minute.
Good old Bob. Good old Bob. seems yeah,
We ended up on child marriage,
never
and
a good topic to end up on. It,
n-
if that's such a strange concept that like when talking about religion, especially with certain religions, Islam, what ends up happening is you end up in a conversation with another human adult being who is discussing child marriage with you. What that that's supposed to be a topic that never comes up in today's it is 2025. We shouldn't be discussing that anymore. It was wrong a long time ago. We figured this out. What is happening?
so that's the thing is I don't know exactly how child marriage itself got started. Um, I think he's the one who mentioned it because he's like, well, name something in the Bible that we still do today that's wrong. Now, keep in mind, he practices Eastern Orthodox, right? Eastern Orthodox. And so, and then he brought up, I think he's the one who brought up, Islam. He's like, for example, Islam actively practices child marriage. And I'm like, well, what if Christianity does too? He's like, find me any law that allows it. And come to find out that the Eastern Orthodox in 1830 had a synod. Now, this is only for the Eastern Orthodox. It doesn't apply to the Greek Orthodox, doesn't apply to them. But in the Eastern Orthodox, they had a synod in which they stated that the marriage laws would be in accordance with the laws of the land where they were living. Meaning that if you were an Orthodox Christian living in Iraq, you were perfectly chill with marrying 9-year-olds. And then the next words out of his mouth was, well, that's heresy. And I'm like, oh, based. You acknowledge that you're following a religion that's based on heresy. Thank you. You follow a heretical faith.
It's magic. I ain't got to explain shit.
Right. Right. But yeah, the fact that he would just so openly without even thinking about what that was implicating himself into, that, oh, that's heresy, that's heretical. And it's like, congratulations, you're following a heretical church, good job, go join the Catholics.
I'm sure they'll take you.
And then I don't know if Joyful's still in here, but in Joyful's live earlier, they were debating a Muslim, and the Muslim's whole argument for childhood marriage was, well, look at all of the early royal families and look at all the children they married. Well, I did a quick search and come to find out that while, yes, childhood marriage did occur, most of them were at least 14. Not the best, it's still horrible, still wrong and disgusting, but most of them were 14. There was one case where one king of England married a 6-year-old, but they also provided like the rules for the marriage. It was strictly a political marriage. She never moved in with him. They never even met. They literally met for the marriage and then she was taken back to her country. So they never met. The documents all state that it was for political reasons. So that marriage was never even consummated or anything. But outside of that, it seems to be that Islam is the only religion that like was perfectly okay with the marriage of 6-year-olds and consummating it when they're 9. Seems to be an Islamic issue. And Double Donkey, no, Alabama would only be if it allowed cousins. And I don't know if that synod allowed for cousins.
No, well, he's saying that it would be the local law, like whatever the
Mm.
local law is. So if you're Eastern Orthodox in Alabama, here we go. Head to the nearest family reunion. Yeah, yeah. As 10% on YouTube is saying, look at those inbred monarch PDFs. Checkmate atheist. Like what? Like
Right,
pointing at the
right.
like how is that? Did he think that like we would base all of our morality on like the monarchy? Like what are you
Right.
talking about? Yeah, like I have just about as many problems with the monarchy than I do with like any other religion.
Well, and what they don't understand is, well, like, so here's the thing that they will never understand is that, so I actually take the stance, and many of you heard, I take the stance that morals are objective through empathy. But let's say I agree that it's all subjective. If it's all subjective, then that means that me as an atheist, Jaren, my cameras are all flipped here. Jaren as an atheist, the chat who are atheist, every single one of you can all be and confidently say slavery, grape, all these horrific things, beating your children, throwing rocks at people. These things at all points of time are horrific and have always been wrong. However, people that are religious, especially if you follow the Abrahamic faiths, you can't say that. You can't. You have to say that at some point in time or for certain circumstances, slavery is okay. Now, we recognize that there are going to be some atheists who are going to look at it and go, no, I'm perfectly okay with slavery. And the rest of us are going to be like, well, get out of our civilization. We don't want you anywhere near us.
Yeah. Atheism is not a religion, it's literally a lack thereof. There's no tenets to
Mm-hmm.
atheism. Atheism is just the default settings of all humans. It's not a it that's it. Like nothing else to it.
Yep. As a matter of fact, Tenebris, talking about inbred monarchs, so it is the case that all of the monarchies in Europe were all pretty much related. So after World War One, we have Emperor Wilhelm actually went to England to try to get refuge with the King of England because it was his cousin. They were cousins, and the King of England was like, "No, no, I'm not helping you. Best I can do is give you a place to go exile to. Best I can do." But they're all literally related. And so yeah, it definitely makes sense when we're talking about, look at all these inbred monarchs. Absolutely, the European monarchs, 100% inbred, 100%. Maybe that's where Alabama got the idea from. Maybe they're going to, try to rise up their own little England.
In Alabama though.
They're like, if we're gonna break away from this here United States, we better take cue from the rest of Europe.
Oh my gosh. I that was a decent Alabama accent. Alabama.
Alabama. They
Gosh.
didn't draw those royals with silly faces for nothing. Let's see, what are some other goofy debates I've seen today? Oh, I've also learned some of y'all atheists need to learn how to listen to a syllogism.
Esprit de Cru. Crystal rum. That's what I'm drinking tonight, guys, by the way.
And I am doing the Kraken. We got Dark Kraken tonight.
The Kraken.
But Melissa, you are a believer, but the question is, we believe firmly that Jesus and Paul never existed, at least not the Jesus as presented in the New Testament. If you have any evidence for the existence of Jesus, we would love to hear it. Hop in the box. We'll bring you up. We would love to chat with you about it.
Yep. Just type in the tiny URL link there, and we'll bring you up there to have a conversation. We'd love to have a conversation with you. Not a problem.
And we match energy.
And you don't have to
if
be on
you...
camera, by the way. You don't have to be on
Yeah,
camera.
you don't have
It
to
can
be.
just just be voice.
When you come up, it'll give you an option if you want to turn your camera on. We can turn it off. Also, when I unmute you in there, if your camera is on for whatever reason and you don't want it on, I'll just turn it off because I can control your camera and turn it off for you.
Crystal, what?
I think that's something else that's funny, speaking of, because Melissa did mention about being pro-choice. That is something that I think I have kind of shut a lot of Christians up in their tracks when they start, because they'll go on that. Well, they'll be like, well, you guys are just pro-abortion, you guys are pro-schmurder. And I'll be like, well, I mean, have you looked at how God made the female biology? God made the female body to spontaneously abort thousands, like women spontaneously abort more children throughout all of history than if we were to get all the women that have ever existed, all the women that ever will exist, and put them together. Their bodies alone would have spontaneously aborted more children, more fetuses than they ever could have electively chose to abort. And so it's like, why did God create the female body to do that? Seems like with God doing that, God, every time he commands a genocide, he's like, oh, by the way, them infants and children, take care of them too. It just seems to me that God just doesn't care about children. So if God doesn't care about children, why should we?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
We will be live for about another hour. We're live. This live goes for 2 hours. If we do have some good debates going on, we will definitely go into overtime with it. Or if we're just having an extremely good debate or good time going on, we'll go into overtime. But everybody that's here right now, there are in this live right now, we have got 27. If you all could go hop over onto Reason and Rebellion, link is in the bio. Go over there, give us a follow over there. I really wish it would push out onto the shorts feed. I don't know why it's not. Oh, and I also love how Christians love to change what objective means to fit their narrative. Because we'll be so objective when we're talking about like objective, normally it's mind independent, right? So for example, my favorite color is blue. If I cease to exist, then my favorite color being blue also ceases to exist because I don't exist anymore. However, this is a cup. And if all of humans cease to exist, this would still be a cup, right? This is stance or mind independent. But Christians will take a look at like objective, where they'll use a definition of it being like mind or stance independent, or they will switch it to it's always true. Like no matter what, it's always true. Christians have this, you have to pay attention to how Christians like to flip-flop that.
Yeah, the worst type of debates to really get into and get involved with would be the ones that deal with tag or presuppositionalist, that kind of thing. Because there's a lot of arguments that Christians present, not just Christians, but just religious people in general, that generally speaking, I avoid anything like that. If something even remotely comes up, like it's going to be a Phil Bro kind of argument, I just immediately just
The idea of tag is that we don't have a means to know anything because there has to be the thing that does know everything that created us and it imparts that knowledge onto us. Um, but there is the transcendental argument against God that says if God, so P1, if God exists.
yeah. Or you can just avoid it altogether.
Yeah, like I said, and I'll say it time and time again. Um,
Oh, did they say
my
that the audio
favorite.
went out?
it- oh, is it back? Yeah,
They
it's.
said the
Let me
audio
let
went
me.
out on YouTube.
Is it back? Is it back?
Yeah,
Let
it's
me
back.
check something.
I can hear it now.
Okay. Yeah, so it is the case. So yeah, it's doing the thing where if I leave OBS, it cuts the audio out. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know why this is acting up today. It's goofy. But I love Joel's response whenever somebody runs tag. Somebody will come up and they'll run tag and he'll just let him. He'll just sit back, stare at the camera intently and just listen. And he'll nod his head and yep, uh-huh. Uh-huh. And then as soon as they're done, he'll be like, "By the way, this scripture here," and he just goes with where he stopped at. And he just carries on the conversation and just completely dismisses it.
Yeah, don't even address it.
Doesn't even
Yeah,
address
that
it.
works. That will work. I like that method. I like that. Haven't seen old dial-up gospel in a minute. Nah, well, yeah, I've found that there are people who are willing to take on that kind of debate a lot more than others, and so um, I just I find that they're kind of hanging out in different lives. Like I'll go into a TikTok live and everybody's talking about like God and tag and running tag and everything against each other and stuff. And I'm just like, oh well, all right, well I'm gonna avoid that live, and so I keep on scrolling. But that's where these people generally hang out is the other people who like to give it. So like I can imagine that we probably wouldn't see too many of them you know for too terribly long because they'll realize that like we don't play by those rules. If you talk to someone like Joel, like you pointed out, he won't even acknowledge that argument at all. So it's best to just not even come around anymore. Find someone who
Well, and
cares.
Well, and you get some of these Phil bros, and like tag is their personality. Like Justin. Justin went to debate against what's his name? I don't even remember it. It's so immemorable. And their debate was literally over which prophecies Jesus fulfilled. That was the debate, is which messianic prophecies did Jesus fulfill? And his whole argument was tag. He goes up and is just like, well, Justin can't even speak on this because he doesn't believe in God. Thus, he has no foundation for knowledge. So he can't even talk about this. But
Oh,
the
it was
issue
Wi-Fi
with this,
gospel that he went up against.
oh, yeah, it was dial up gospel. That's right.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But the issue with this is the issue with taking this stance as a theist is you still believe that a God exists. And so you can't appeal to, I can't have any idea what I'm saying because I don't believe in a God, because you still believe that a God exists. So if you still believe that a God currently exists while we're having our dialectic, then in your worldview, I have a way to ground knowledge. I may not agree with that, but you still know that knowledge is still grounded in God. So him even trying to say that anything that Justin says just isn't grounded is just fallacious, because like, well, no, you still believe in God, you still believe Justin can gain knowledge from that. So that's another like thing you can mention in tag, is just be like, well, I can ground it because you still believe God exists.
Right. Yeah, it's silly.
And if you do want to see some debates, go follow Godless Engineer. Godless Engineer, when did he say he had his debates coming up?
That was June 13th. June 13th, he was going up against oh, I don't even remember. I don't remember who he went up against. Oh, is Joel Setcase.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then I have a debate against Bought by Blood on June 6th. Time still to be decided, but it's going to be part of Mr. Coco's weekend of debates. And so, if you want to listen to that following, our debate is going to be on whether or not Luke was in the first or second century. And I do know that he's been having people watch me. So if that ever gets brought up in Jaren's live, it's something I'm going to kind of stay mum on, because I'm not about to give up my debate my debate arguments and
How do you
people
know
taking
that he's
notes and
having
giving
people
them,
watch you?
because that's how he found out. That's how he found out that um I had said in my live that I would absolutely body and embarrass the fuck out of him if I ever debated him. Like, we can debate over any topic. I don't care what it is. I'll even debate that the earth is flat, and he can debate that it's round, and I'll still body the fuck out of him.
Oh God. See, that's what we should do is next like April 1st or something, have like a theist argue for atheism and an atheist argue for theism and see what happens on Mr. Coco's live.
So we used to do so in debate. So I don't know how many of you did debate, but like in debate in high school and college, that's how it is. Like, you don't pick the topics that you're dating the affirmative or the negative for. You're just assigned it. And so it's something that's really interesting, is when you are assigned a topic and you've already like, for example, I had to debate abortion once. That was the topic, and I am pro-choice, but I had to take the pro-life stance. Um and just going in and doing all this deep diving and stuff. So yeah, I think that would be fun though. I think it would be fun to do a debate. Wait, he mentioned on which syllogism was he trying to trash? want to know what syllogism he's going to try to trash so I can use it on him during cross examination. I don't care if we're talking about Luke. We could be. I'll throw in the syllogism and be like, "What do you disagree with?" I'll do on my second cross examination. Oh, we do have. All right, sounds good. But speaking of the controversial compass, Mr. Coco, if you want, hop onto the YouTube channel. Again, it's the same name, Reason and Rebellion. You'll see the logo there. Go over there and post your channel over in the chat over there, so that the chat over on YouTube. We don't have very many people. There's only 7 people watching right now because for some reason it's not wanting to push it out to the shorts. But go post it in there, and then I will copy it, and then I'll post it when I go live next. I'll get it posted when I mention it too on my channel so that we can get that posted. But no, I think that would be fun though, is to do like a weekend of debates where you take the people that like if you, and I would love to see Bought by Blood. I wonder if Bought by Blood would even do it. You have Bought by Blood arguing from an atheist perspective. I wonder if
Well,
I
it
wonder
would
if he
just
could even do it.
it would devolve into like just like a weird like sarcastic thing from both sides. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, God exists because, you know, if God didn't exist, then how would I possibly know to smack my mom is wrong? You know, like it just it would come across as is so disingenuous from both sides that you could tell that they're still arguing for what they truly do believe in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we should have Double Donkey Jesus making his debut on these debates.
That would be funny.
But the debate would need to be on whether or not it was Jesus riding on a double donkey or was it just on one donkey. I think that would need to be the debate.
Yeah, was it a donkey coupe or a donkey sedan? Just strolling into Jerusalem, Palm Sunday, 4-door donkey. So really quick, because I think that this is quickly becoming a segment of Reason and Rebellion here, where we kind of break things up and we talk about something that's going on in the news.
I think we should do that top of the hour, every one of them.
Yeah,
What's going on in the news?
So I don't know. Am I able to share my screen? Am I able to do that?
Yeah,
Let's
share
see
your
if I can
screen and
share
I'll
my screen.
just copy it. I got
Okay,
a link for it.
Go. So I want you this is cute but odd. It's cute but odd. Oh, what was that? Is it pulling up now?
Yep.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, look at this. So a nonprofit in Tanzania, they're training giant rats with tiny vests to use scent detection and sniff out illegal wildlife trafficking. Like what? Like how? What? Like how is that even a thing? Like I want to see. I don't know how if this video will play or not. But
Let me
I
see
want
if
to.
I got sound turned on for it.
Well, we don't
Real
really need the sound
fast.
per se. I doubt we will.
Okay.
But that is the wildest thing I think I've seen in a while. Like how does that even work? Like sincerely. Like how do you Like yeah, there's the giant rats. I that so they're African giant pouched rats. I assume that they're fairly easy to train, but how do they really notify you too terribly well? I mean, look at that little vest. That is so cute. He's wearing a vest, and I guess they, they just bring these. Look at him, so cute. He's like eating something. Oh no, it's a bell. Oh, I guess they ring a bell. That's what it is. They ring a bell that's on them. That makes sense. And so there's like a pangolin and stuff like that. Like when you when these people are trafficking these things like elephant ivory and stuff like that, they're able to sniff it out. They're able to sniff out like other animals and stuff. That's what it is. And that's wild to me. That is wild. So that's the weird news of the day is
I,
animal
so
sniffing rats.
so how would this work? Is it like, so let's say are they trained for like a specific animal? Like, so is this one going to be trained for like tigers? We're going to make sure you're not going to hunt tigers. So does it like
Yeah,
know the
is it
scent
all
of
animals?
tigers, so it hangs out where tigers are at, and then when it sees a human in the area, it rings its bell? Like, is that how this works?
I I don't know. So I've always been curious as to how much work goes in because I'm sure they have a ton of people who work on like with people who are dealing with like narcotics and stuff like that, like the smuggling or trafficking of them. They probably work a lot on how to fool dogs. You know what I mean? And going to alert the handler and everything like that. I assume it's an entire job that someone's in charge of. Just like he's the dog whisperer, the person who's able to tell you how to get past all the dog. Like I don't know. I imagine that there's this whole like industry where you have on one side the people training the dogs to find the narcotics, but then the other side is the people trying to get the narcotics past the dogs in some weird way, and they're just constantly one upping each other. I don't know. That's that's just how I imagine it, but maybe I'm wrong.
It's like cat and mouse, but with dogs.
Yeah, and drugs. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, it is cool though what we can teach animals to do and to try to figure out. It is pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
So the question is though, did the Pope's house sell?
I don't know. I sincerely don't know. Pope's house. And they're saying that I'm in the left ear for some reason. I don't know why. They're saying
Let
I'm only
me
in
let
the
me
left ear.
go.
So it says that Chicago suburb plans to acquire the Pope Leo's 14th childhood home. The village of Dalton has stepped in to buy the modest house where Pope Leo spent some of his childhood. It may also use eminent domain. So there it is. This is a much better kind of image here. Let me see if I can actually open that up in a different thing. Oh yeah, much clearer image and everything like that. It's like a wider shot and everything. And let me see if I can share this screen. But yeah, so there you go. If you can put it up.
Yep, hold on one.
But
I'm
yeah,
not
so
seeing it up yet.
we're gonna take care of buying this house. So this is the house. It's just stone's throw away from your neighbor there. So yeah, it's just a little suburb house and everything. And there's already people just already all over the place, just taking pictures and all kinds of crap. So it's got to be an absolute nightmare. So it makes sense that the city would step in and say, "Hey, we're actually gonna take care of this kind of stuff." The Village of Dalton intends to purchase this home either through direct purchase or through their eminent domain powers. The village intends to work with the Chicago Archdiocese and other agencies to allow the home to be viewed and visited by the public as a historic site. That's interesting. It was put up for auction last week with Paramount. Acquiring the house via eminent domain would allow the Village of Dalton to take the private property for public purposes, though the government would have to pay fair compensation to the owner, whatever that means. Yeah, last year it was bought for $66,000 with a plan to renovate and flip it. That's wild. That is wild.
Wait, for 66,000?
Yeah, for 66,000 it was purchased.
Did they not realize they were buying the Pope's house?
No, well, not then. In 2024 it was bought for 60. This is 2024. So last year they bought it and it was just, happened to be just some old house. And somebody probably said, "Oh, some priest or something bought it at best." Or I guess he lived in it as a kid, so you probably never heard anything from anybody. But
So
man,
something that I was thinking about. So I found, because I was just thinking, because we're both wearing hats, and I found something. I found the hat maker who makes the fedoras for Indiana Jones. However, they range from, I think this is in British pounds, so they range from 400 to 600, depending if you want them in rabbit hair or beaver. But who would like to see, at least me, I'm not going to put Jaren in the boat, but who would like to see, at least me, possibly Jaren, rocking an Indiana Jones fedora? Just out of curiosity. Just curious.
it sounds pretty cool in my opinion. I don't know what is Indiana Jones fedora actually made out of?
So the original ones were made out of rabbit, because it's a prop. So the original ones was made out of rabbit. But beaver tends to hold up a lot better. Like, so for example, so this is my grandpa's Stetson, and one way that you rate hats, I don't know if you'll be able to see it,
Yeah.
but there's an X system in the band, right? So this is a 4X. So a 4X, when this hat was made, this has a lot more beaver in it than other ones. Now, this is also a Stetson, but this is made with buffalo, and it is also a 4X, but the 4X for Stetson has changed. So this is a much lower quality hat than that one, even though they're both 4Xs. But it's important to know the pelt that's being used, because beaver hair tends to be more barbed, and because it's barbed, it sticks together a lot nicer than rabbit pelt. Rabbit pelt isn't as barbed, so it doesn't stick as nice. And then it's going to depend on what other fillers they have in there. That's why you could get up to like 100X. Like if you get 100X Stetson, you're going to be paying like $5,000 for that thing, because it's almost dang near like 100% beaver.
That's insane though. Like it'd be waterproof as fuck. But yeah, like my hat that I'm wearing right now is a 3X. It's a 3X. The thing is, different companies, different hat makers, they actually have like it means things different. There's not really like a standardized X like measurement. Like different companies just call different things.
correct. It's maker dependent. Like this is a straw hat. So this is a straw hat and it's 10 you're not gonna be able to see it, but it's a 10x as a straw hat. And this is not a Stetson. Um, but it's a 10x, and that has something to do with how uniform all the straw fibers are, how tightly woven they are. Like if you look in this one, you'll see where there's like little holes and stuff in it where they, because the fibers weren't uniform, there's little gaps and stuff, so that all affects it. But yeah, like Jaron said, every hat maker, their X levels are going to be different.
Makes sense. Makes sense. But yeah, it just kind of depends. But yeah, hat making and hat making can be an interesting trade, and hat collecting is a very expensive hobby.
Hmm. I mean, the hat box, I wish I go grab it, but it's buried right now. The hat box that I have for my grandpa's um old hat is, so the reason why he ended up with um this hat is, so Orthodox Jews, if you're Orthodox Jewish, you know that we wear fedoras as well as kippas. But moving out here, it's not a Jewish community. It's a very heavy Christian community. So he still wanted to somewhat keep up with the tradition. So he bought a cowboy hat and he bought it in gray. Um, but on these older Stetsons, the crown of it is the same height as a fedora. As a matter of fact, I'm just gonna put this one on. So that's where that's the history of this hat. That's why my grandpa got this hat. It's why he kept the classic black band on it, because this black band was going to be the tie to Judaism itself, was with the black band on it, just a plain black band.
Hmm. Not bad. Not bad. So there's a reason why it looks the way that it looks. I mean, it almost looks like dang near pilgrim hat there from the front because it's so high, so tall. But
Right.
it
Well,
looks it looks good.
there's been a part of me that has been uh thinking about taking it in and actually having the hat trimmed down to a fedora size, but then I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna leave it how my grandpa had it. uh Gorgonzola, come on up, we'd love to chat with you. Hop in the box. Oh, we do have somebody in the box. Oh wait, hold on, no, that was your, never mind, that was your screen share. Gorgonzola, hop in the box. The link's going to be tinyurl.com/rnr guest. Hop in the box, we'd love to chat with you about it. When it comes to these, because we do want to have the debates, we're not going to engage with chat in these debates. But come on up and we'd love to have you talk.
Yeah. You don't have to be on video or anything like that. It's just
Yeah, if you
it
don't
can
want to
just
be
be
on
audio.
video, let us know you don't want to be on video, and I'll make sure the video doesn't turn on. I think they're feeling like a coward. That's what happened. Okay, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be saying that. We haven't had a debate yet. I can't be calling people cowards on this channel yet.
Gorgonzola though. Come on up, Gorgonzola. That's a type of cheese. That is a type of cheese. I don't know if I've had Gorgonzola.
Oh, Gorgonzola's a friendly. Well, even if you're friendly, like, come on up. When it comes to this topic specifically, it's the atheists that we actually really want to talk about or talk to. It like if you're an atheist and you believe that Jesus actually existed, come on up. We'll present our strongest arguments, and maybe we can sway your mind to even be believing or having an understanding that the natural Jesus did not exist.
Even if your name is Richard Carrier, come on up.
So he said he doesn't want to debate. He just wanted the one question. So yeah, I guess we could do that. So how is it that Stalometry points books like Thessalonians to the second century?
Well, considering the fact that Second Thessalonians, I don't believe that's even in the Apostolicon off the top of my head. Let's see. Oh no,
So
it's in there, but it's just it's a text that just has a different style. Um, so I mean, it's still something that while Marcion produces it, we don't have any mentioning of it or anything like that until the second century, and it's in a different style than the single author who we see wrote bits and pieces of like Romans, First and Second Corinthians, and Galatians. Second Thessalonians is already considered to be after the Pauline epistles, like the authentic ones from Christian scholars or most mainstream scholars. So all you really have to do is just show that Paul shows up in the second century and Second Thessalonians just follows suit.
yeah, he's mentioning First Thessalonians is said to be Paul's earliest letter.
I mean, First Thessalonians or Galatians. But I mean, nevertheless, it's not even something that would even come up with that one author. I mean, even like FC Bauer back in the 1800s was saying that there's only four four epistles that he considers to be Pauline, which would be Galatians, First and Second Corinthians, and then Romans. Um, eh, so it just doesn't. Again, none of these things are even mentioned. None of these books are even mentioned until the second century. None of the books are mentioned like as as a standalone document. In other words, someone says, "Oh, hey, I only have this one copy." They say, or this one letter. They always have some sort of a collection, like multiple ones. Um, so yeah, at the end of the day, um, First Thessalonians is unfortunately yet again another text that is not written by uh, Paul and shows up as second century style.
Yeah, and in fact, if you're really wondering, something that I will point out. So, bought by blood, eat my shorts if you're in here. Um, but um, something that you'll notice, that I think is really important is that the important people. As a matter of fact, this isn't in my debate. This isn't even in my debate. The important people that should mention Paul, like Philo, they don't. They simply don't. And if Paul was writing the things that he did, if these things were known, Philo definitely would have been interested in what Paul was saying, right? And Philo definitely would have said something about Paul, and he doesn't. We have bump from any of these people that lived during the time period. Not a single one of them say anything. And I think that
Yeah,
is something
uh,
that's overlooked a lot.
I believe it was Heady Artist who pointed out not long ago to me that you hear the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, but people don't continue that phrase because that phrase goes or should go, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence unless evidence is expected. So, in other words,
Hmm.
if we don't see proof of something, that doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't exist. But truth be told, if we expect to see proof somewhere and we don't see it, that's a very big problem. Um,
It's a
and
huge problem.
oh yeah, and Paul, if he existed in the first century, and if Paul started all these different churches and wrote to all these different churches, and was unalived in Rome in the '60s, the early '60s, because um, he was a Christian and all this different stuff, all this like Christian tradition takes on him or traditional Christian takes on him. If that was the case, then we should see his name somewhere. But the fact that we don't see his name anywhere from any historians or any Roman documents, any document outside of Christianity, that is really, really bad. That's terrible. Now,
Well, and I was oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say too, along those lines, I'm surprised too that if he was such a pivotal figure, I mean, he started all these churches, he's writing to all these churches. How come are not a single one of them? Why do we not have any documentation from these churches being like, hey, just a heads up, they've got Paul?
Yeah. Yeah. Someone says that, or any letters back to Paul, like,
Hmm.
oh, thanks for the letter. Thanks for that huge fucking letter that you wrote us. And it took us like 5 years to read because we had to find the one guy in our town that can read, like,
True,
nothing.
true. Hold on,
Like,
you wrote us this book. In
yeah.
fact, in Thessalonians, you wrote us two books. We can't read the second one yet because turns out we don't have anybody to have been able to read the first one yet.
Uh, like, and how would you even go about getting all these books, like, or all these letters? Like, how would you even do? Like, I guess you would just like go around and just find them, like, because it's not like they're sent to mailboxes, and I doubt that they kept records that well. Like, even if there were churches around the area, like, how did you find all these so well preserved like texts that were being mailed out? How did you come across them without ever finding
Look,
any letters back or anything like that?
look, I've played enough Skyrim. I know how this works. The letters actually never got delivered. The courier just passed away somewhere, and whoever found these letters was on some weird side quest or were just fucking off doing nothing and found this random unalived body and was like, oh, look, here's a letter to Paul. And then a
It's
little
like,
thing popped up and said, collect the rest of them.
yeah, and Marcion can't sleep until he 100% this entire mission. Ridiculous. Yeah, it's I think we tend to look back on any religions, really, not just Christianity, but any religions, especially within ancient times and stuff. um, we tend to look at them as if they were more cohesive and uh, together than what they really would have been. Because you go back that far, especially with so few people who are even literate, the idea that so many people are on the same page and Paul is going around getting everybody, all good to go and all singing off the same song sheets and singing kumbaya, all holding hands and whatnot. It's just it's just really unlikely. It's really unlikely. It sounds like in reality these groups are loosely affiliated with each other, um, and that's that's why you would need so many teachings that are saying, hey, this is who we worship. We worship Christ Jesus. We worship the Christ that's crucified. This specific person is what you should worship. Because before then, they're just all, before you have these texts that unify you, you're all just kind of, oh, like, over here in Corinth, you might have this local Christian community that believes in this Christ deity, but also believes some other things. Or over in this community, you have people who believe in the Christ deity, but also believe in those things. Like, it's just, it's local, it's localized,
Mhm.
it's all over the place. Not,
And
everybody's not on the same page. That's insane.
well, and something that's important too, something that you'll hear Jaron talk about a bit, and there's something that's really important is when it comes to debating the time period, like the Gospels, for example, you'll hear a lot of people that'll say, well, Mark had to be placed around 70, sometime around 70, because it mentions the temple, right? But what people tend to forget, right? What people tend to forget is it could be the case that Mark was written after the fact and is written to have appeared in the past. And these were things that, like, if you were to look at these um, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, you wouldn't be able to necessarily say this because we just didn't have any evidence of this type of. Oh, hold up. We just didn't have evidence of this kind of genre existing. And then we found some breaking things concerning the Old Testament. We found the Nabonidus cylinder. The Nabonidus cylinder, and then when you compare that to the Dead Sea Scrolls and the fact that Daniel, the earliest manuscripts of Daniel, is written in Hasmodean Hebrew. It's not even written in Paleo Hebrew. It's written in Hasmodean Hebrew. And we find the Nabonidus stone, and then we're like, oh, it is the case that Matthew was not written at any time during the actual Babylonian exile, and nowhere near the exile. It was written long after. It was written during probably right before the Maccabean revolt. Probably right
And this
before the
is what
Maccabee
book?
revolt.
This is what book?
The book of Daniel.
Dang.
The book of Daniel. And now we know because, again, the closer Daniel gets to the Greek time frame, it's extremely accurate. But as he starts to get towards the Babylon side of things, he is wildly inaccurate. And the Nabonidus stone allowed us to figure this out. Um, Belshazzar was not related to Nebuchadnezzar at all. He was the son of Nabonidus. A lot of the things that Nebuchadnezzar is blamed for doing in the book of Daniel, turns out that it was Nabonidus who is more likely to have done those kind of things. Nabonidus is not related to Nebuchadnezzar. He was actually like a peasant who kind of stumbled onto being the king. It was a series of unfortunate, fortunate events on how he became the king. Um, and so we have history now of them writing things currently, but making them appear to have been in the past. Um, and so if we have that kind of literature, why would it just stop with Daniel? We can find other issues where this has happened. So it could be the case that Mark and the Gospels are doing the same thing, and Paul are doing the same thing where they're writing in the present, but they're writing as if it was the past.
Right. Yep. I mean, it's a common trope. So, I mean, wouldn't put it past them.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely wouldn't.
Yep. And so when you get in debates, and again, bought by blood, eat my shorts. You need to make sure you pin them down and be like, some of the claims that you are going to make, can you back it up historically, or are you just going to use a theological reasoning for this? And a good example for this, and something that I think that everybody overlooks. Right now, there are 6 people on YouTube, and I don't know how many people on TikTok all see this case that holds my earbuds. You all see this. Now, this is one piece of evidence, but I have at least 10 people plus, that have seen that. Now, is it 10 pieces of different evidence, or is it one piece of evidence that 10 people are kind of like saying, yeah, that's an earbud? And I think this is something that's really important. And then as this gets passed down, that on this live, Cyber showed his earbuds. Well, at the time, the people all that saw it confirmed it, and then it just kind of gets passed down where people in the future don't even look at the evidence themselves. They just take the peer reviewed or whatever agreement of the scholars, of the consensus of the scholars before them. Exactly. It's one piece of evidence. It's only one piece of evidence of my existence. Um, but this is the thing that people get conflated. So, like the Gospels, why do historians agree on it, and where do they? What evidence have they actually looked at to draw their own conclusion, or are they just basing it off of the opinions of historians in the past? Yep, that's absolutely right, Storm. They don't have evidence, they have consensus.
And consensus does not just always equal fact or anything like that. Just means, hey, this is
Mhm.
what most people think. And that's
Yep.
fine.
And
You know,
again,
we're not calling the people who generally look at this kind of stuff, we're not calling them idiots or anything. We're just saying that, hey, like that doesn't automatically make them right because they all say something. You know, you still got to look at the evidence, and new information comes out on those pieces of evidence, despite what Carrier may tell you.
yep. Well, you know what though? Maybe you should do a YouTube video calling. Has Carrier reached out to you at all? Been like,
No,
hey, let's
no,
talk about
no.
your stuff. At least he acknowledged you, though. I mean, have you heard
That's
anything
true.
from Dan McClellan yet?
No, no, no. But it is funny because like he at least does mention it. I guess we're down on TikTok. Are we doing a restart or something?
On TikTok? I'm not
Mhm.
doing a restart. Did TikTok go down? Oh, I I think I had a puzzle piece I had to figure out, and I thought it was just updating itself. I'll get that live going. Let me get that live right back up.
Oh, is
So,
that what
do you ever?
someone on there said puzzle piece time or something, or puzzle time or something? Is that what they were talking
Yeah,
about?
do you ever get those where it has you
Yeah.
like do the puzzle piece?
It does it at
Yeah,
like an hour and a half or so.
yeah, it did that, and I didn't even do the puzzle piece.
Nice.
I went to go look at it, but it didn't pop up. It didn't pop up, so I didn't do the puzzle piece. I was like, "What the heck?" All right, so
I
I
think
am getting
people all
TikTok
hopped
back
over
up.
to YouTube.
Yeah.
TikTok just
Well,
dropped
if you're
6 or 2
over on
things.
YouTube, make sure you give us a follow. But we are back up on TikTok right now. We have Chaos Engine joining. But we do have about 15. Boo, Joe, boo. Joe
Joe's
showing
in here.
Joe showing her face in here.
You
Boo,
got
Joe. Let's
19
get
minutes, Joe.
yeah, you got 19 minutes. Let's see. Let's see those tomatoes in chat. Tomatoes in both chats.
That's funny.
Oh, sorry, Joe. Sorry, I apologize. Joe is right. It is they them. Boo.
Oh, really? For Joe?
Hmm.
Well, I'm pretty sure I said the wrong thing earlier.
Well, we are even getting tomatoes for them over on YouTube as well.
Sorry about that, Joe. But we have tomatoes in there. Can I offer you a nice tomato in this trying time?
Told you I was cooked.
Oh, I was cooked. A
We have
stewed
we have
tomato.
Angel over here throwing cans of tomatoes at Joe.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's that's a lot.
That's a bit much.
Straight up cans. Yeah, there's some cans on YouTube as well. 10% through some
That is true. That
cans.
is true. Remember when Bush was president and somebody threw their shoe at him?
I remember that, and he dodged it like a pro.
He
Just
he did,
what?
he did. I saw that, and I was like, "Okay, okay, somebody threw." They're either Jewish, Muslim, or Hispanic. One of those
It was
3
the
things,
second.
because a shoe went flying.
Oh man, the chunkla.
If we woulda
Let's
saw a beforehand and they're hitting it with a blowtorch, I'd be like, "They're Jewish. They're making sure it's kosher before they send it selling."
don't want to insult you that much. Let's see. I think it's interesting how we develop more ways of examining the evidence. We continue as we develop more ways of examining the evidence. We continually find it harder to believe the story of Jesus. Yet so many still hold such a strong faith. Yeah, and unfortunately, as we've seen here with the carrier stuff, like there's even people who don't think that Jesus existed, who are willing to take down other ways to get to Jesus not existing, despite the fact that it's still legit. No matter what your opinion is of it, it's still legit. Like you can go and do it yourself. It's not the hardest thing to do, Richard. But you know, so I be. Uh, but you are correct, Glum. You are. Uh, it's
So,
it's kind of like just God in general. Like the
mhm.
more that we find out about the world and about the universe and ourselves and everything like that, just morality even. The more that we find out about these things, the less we realize that there is some uh God behind it. Like we're able to fill in these gaps. And so the God of the gaps argument just fades away until you don't really need this God anymore.
Yep. And Canadian Goose, hop on up. We'd love to chat with you about it. He said, explain. Wait, so anyone else exists? Saint Peter. We don't believe the disciples existed at all. There is a chance that, like, in the second century, or sorry, yeah, in the mid, or sorry, yeah, in the second century, as the religion was evolving, there might have been like a Peter, James, and John uh, that were named, that were instrumental in the spread of Christianity. But do we believe that they were like the disciples of Jesus? No.
I wouldn't say so.
Do we believe that Mary and Joseph existed? Absolutely not. Do we
Nah.
believe Pilate existed? Possibly. Yeah, we know Pilate existed. Do we believe John the Baptist existed? Yeah, John the Baptist existed. But
Okay,
they're
I don't
just
really have much of a problem.
characters. Yeah, they're just characters that are put in the story, though, um to make the story seem more real, if that makes sense.
Taking my left earbud out to mute Jaren. uh, I must be on just the left side for some reason. I don't know why.
Let me go take a look.
Like that's how left wing my politics are.
You just pop up in left ears.
Yeah, that's it. Like I don't even want to be in your right ear.
Yeah, I don't know. It gives me an option. In order for me to hear you, I have to choose the monitor. And so I choose the right ear. I don't know. Let me see if I put in my other earbud, see if it gives me an option to pick both ears.
Ari said attempting to historicize the religious fiction with occasional factoids. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, you're putting this story into history, and so you're going to need some historical people to kind of set the backdrop, set the background. I mean, they're just more or less background characters. It's like, you know, oh, when is this character alive? Well, picture the reign of Tiberius, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Okay, that kind of allows for me to think of this kind of thing. Like Harry Potter
Oh,
has, like cars in it, So if J.K. Rowling had chose to write it with, horse-drawn buggies or carriages or something like that, then it would put it even further back into England. So it's just how it goes.
yeah. So if I did switch Jaren over to the right. So yeah, it must have something to do with because I do it for monitor for me because I listen to Jaren over Video Ninja. That's how I hear him. And so in order for me to hear him, I have to choose one. But if you're hearing him in yeah, Jaren, you're a Republican now. I just made that decision for you.
Taxation is theft.
Facts. Facts.
Ron Paul, 2012.
Next thing you're gonna know, we're gonna have Christ before Jesus reading from the Trump Bible.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
fun fact is literally just the KJV. It's the KJV with the Constitution added in it and some other documents added in it.
And the lyrics of Lee Greenwood's "God Bless America" or something.
Did he put that in it?
I'm pretty sure, or "God Bless the USA" or something.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm okay with that song, but that's just cringe. Jaren, we're gonna make our own Bible, and it's gonna be like the Jefferson Bible. So okay, so if you all ever hear the argument, that the founding fathers were Christian, just point anybody who says that to the Jefferson Bible. Jefferson took the Bible and took out all of the miracles in it. Anything that was supernatural in it, he took it out and said, "This is how the Bible should have been." What are you pointing at?
Pointing at you and your frozen ass face.
Oh, I didn't realize. I'm like, who are you pointing at? We'll see if I can.
Yeah.
That is an amazing freeze though.
Yeah, it's not too terribly bad. Like I'm always the one who gets frozen in like a kind of face. It's awful. I'm like mid sneeze, like just it's terrible.
T-Spell, hop on up. The link's right there, tinyurl.com/RNR guest. We would love to chat with you, but you're gonna need to hop on up in order for that to happen.
Yeah, storm got.
Yeah, I hopped over to Video Ninja real quick. It's like your camera is failing to load. No, T-Spell. Moses did not exist, but that's not the topic. The topic is Jesus and Paul never existed. So hop in the box. Let's talk about it. Links right there, tinyurl.com/RNR guest. Hop on up. We'd love to chat with you about it. I don't think he'll come up though.
Who is the politician a long time ago that wanted to put a moon some kind of army base on the moon? Was that Neil Gorsuch? Is that his name?
I don't know who that was.
Who was that? Oh, it was some guy.
Probably Elon.
No, it wasn't him. It was back in the day. It was back over a decade ago.
All right, look. So the drink I'm drinking right now has been ginger beer with some rum on top, and the rum just kind of slowly seeps in. The ginger beer is gone, and I just took my first like full swig of rum. I'm like, "Ah."
Just straight up.
I was not expecting that.
I'm pretty sure it was Neil Gorsuch. Yeah.
And T Spell is saying
not Neil
no,
Gorsuch.
he loves hope. I mean, are you just afraid that you're gonna come up and get your belief system absolutely demolished? Because if that is the case, I'd run too. Yeah, Neil Gorsuch is on the SCOTUS. I don't think he ran for president.
No, it wasn't him. It's someone with a. God damn it. He's got
Newt Gingrich.
Newt Gingrich. That's it. Neil Gorsuch. Newt Gingrich. Yeah, yeah. I knew it was something close to that. There we go. Newt Gingrich. That's it. He was. He was something else.
So yeah, if you believe that no, so what we are saying, so what our stance is that they in fact did not exist. So if you believe that Jesus and Paul did exist, hop on up. We'd love to hear your evidence. We'll listen. We just want to hear your evidence. But in order for us to hear your evidence, you need to hop up. Aaron, come on up. We'd love to hear your evidence. The link is right here, tinyurl.com/RNR guest. Hop up in the box. We'll bring you on up and we'll talk to you there.
And you don't have to be on camera. You don't have to be on camera. I mean, if you want to, I guess you can, but you don't have to be. Yeah, we can just do audio. That's fine. But yeah, just request on up, put in that link, and we'll bring you up and we'll have a conversation with you.
Now, are there any politicians or just anybody in history that has just been so horrible that you would never name your child after them? Like the name should just be erased. Like, for example, Adolf. I will never name any child of mine Adolf. It should just be an eradicated name.
To be fair, a quick question. Do you own any Adidas sportswear?
No,
What about Puma?
no.
No? Okay. They were brothers that started from the Dossler family. Adidas is like Adidas. Adi Dossler. His first name is Adolf. They called him Adi. So
Yep. So,
the
Aaron, if
name
you do
still
want
is
to
around.
join,
Or was.
yeah,
It's
so
been a
if you
while.
do want to join, it's going to be tinyurl.com/RNR guest. Just type that into your web browser. The link is also in the profile. So go click that and we'll definitely bring you on up and chat with you. But we need to see you pop on up.
The name Nero actually sounds pretty cool. I don't think I would have a problem with a kid named Nero. Same with a kid
I
named
think I'd be
Caesar.
okay with Nero. Yeah.
Caesar, Nero. I don't know about Herod. Herod sounds terrible.
Right. So what do
Uh,
we mean by they existed? They are in the imagination.
To find the term existed, Storm says, "Are you serious?" Amadeus. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So, let's see.
Hold on. What do you mean it
Is
didn't work?
his
I'm
real
about to
name?
show you that this works. It's going to be going to mute this. Going to show you that it does work.
What?
Going to join room with. Oh, he's saying it didn't work.
With the link didn't work or something?
That's what he's saying. But I usually test this. before I go live, I do some testing because I have to switch everything from my stuff on OBS to the setup for R&R. So normally about a half hour before I am live, I have to run some tests. And yeah, it's working. I just popped up in there. We're gonna.
That's two different angles of cyber.
It is two different angles of cyber. One of them's from my phone. And boom, see, it works. See, I'm right here.
Yeah, the link works. Just head on over there, and we'll bring you up and have a conversation.
And the director, I have muted myself over there. But yeah, so
Let's
it
see.
works.
Stephen Hill says the text is valid as any other. Now was he the Messiah? Doubtful, Son of God? Nope. Come on up, Stephen. Um, hop on up. Click the or not click the link, but put in the link and come on up. You don't have to be on video or anything if you don't want to, but I would like to have a conversation with you. Paula, the same thing for you. Just come on up.
Yeah, it's literally the link, tinyurl.com/RNR guest. It'll bring you up. You don't have to have your camera on. We're not going to require your camera to be on. If you don't want it on, let me know. We'll turn it off, and you'll have an option to turn it off as well. When you pop up, it'll ask you some questions. And one of those is, do you want your camera on? You just choose to have your camera off.
Yep. So it is. tinyurl.com/RNR guest. RNR guest.
Yeah, the letters R, the letter N, and the letter R guest. I mean, I don't know how you miss it. It's spelled right here. See?
Yeah, but come on, guys. If you believe that Jesus or Paul existed, just request on up.
Well, Vince Cook, we know that these individuals all existed. We have actual video footage of Martin Luther King. We do have people who contain his DNA are still alive. We know that Julius Caesar existed. We have his writings. We also have the writings of his contemporaries. We know that George Washington existed because we have his military records from not only the US, but from Great Britain as well. We also know that we have writings from his contemporaries here in the US. We have pictures that were painted of him during his time, and we have his teeth. So if you disagree, hop on up. We are right now. So just so you know, we are in overtime right now. So we're staying live. If any of these people here don't want to hop up, though, we're going to stay live to see if any of these people want to pop up. We've got George Washington never existed. We've got some people having this presupposed expectation. Aaron, you need to put a backslash between that com and R&R. Right after that M and right before that R, put a backslash. And you'll have it. Yes, we'd love to chat with you. We'd seriously love to have this conversation, but you need to hop in the box. We can't hop in the box unless you come on to Video Ninja and we'll chat with you. You're not required to have your camera on. We won't force you to have your camera on. You can leave it off.
Now, someone mentioned, by the way, in regards to those names, someone mentioned the name Vladimir. Like you wouldn't name the kid. Vladimir is a name that, for the most part, I think is generally acceptable. I think there's enough people named Vladimir. It's all over the place. I mean, obviously, there's one guy that with it, But other than that, I mean, What's funny is that for the most part, like the Ukrainian version of Vladimir is the Ukrainian president's name, and the Russian president's name is also Vladimir. Like it's basically the same name. But I looked it up. I was wondering if Vlade Divac, if his first name was Vladimir, and it's not. It's just Vlade.
Look at
Which is
look at
pretty-
Aaron McDermott saying you can't get the link right. Hard to buy into this. It literally is right there. It literally works. I literally use it and just came on my phone. Aaron, tell us you're a coward without actually saying you're a coward. Chris B, hop on up. The link's right here. Give the link, tinyurl.com/RNR guest. We would love to chat with you. Love to have this chat with you. But if you're going to come in and talk about it, you need to give the link a tap. Come on in. We'll chat with each and every one of you. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, you got to put the link in on your browser. You don't put it into the TikTok comments. I think he's trying to put the link in to the TikTok comments.
Mm-hmm. But we are getting an influx of people coming in, so we will stay live for another 10 minutes. If we don't get another debate, anybody coming up to debate this within 10 minutes, we're just going to call it a night, and you'll get another go next week on a different topic. Probably won't run this topic again. If we do see that it is pushing on the FYP, we'll probably do a quick switch to this topic, because I know TikTok wants to see this topic being debated, or sorry, YouTube wants to see this being debated.
Good Lord.
And one of these weeks, sometime next month, we will be running a conspiracy theory live. And you can bet your asses the crown on my grandpa's hat will definitely be covered in tinfoil.
Cover it up.
And we did have 20.1 gigawatts saying, let me go see if I can find that again. It says, my anal believes in Jesus. Is that just so he can, your anal can shit talk Jesus though? So that's what we're thinking about. We don't know if we're going to have conspiracies to talk about, or if we're going to leave it open for people with conspiracies to come up, and then we just slap them down one at a time. But all I see are the people that were coming in, the sudden influx of Christians coming in, and all I see are cowards amongst them. I looked ahead, and behold, I saw nothing but the cowards.
Time to call down 2 she-bears from the woods.
Yep. That's what I'm about to do. Be like, God, there's these unbelievers in here. Send your bears after them. Let the bears do the work.
Yeah, yeah, they're not prepared to talk the gospel. I guess that's the point.
Aaron, you literally go to your browser, type in tinyurl.com/RNR guest, hit enter, and a window, as a matter of fact, hold on. Maybe I can walk you through this, right? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to
So much prawn.
tinyurl.com, and it's going to bring up a thing here where you're going to put in your name. So for this one, we will type in test. And then when you hit OK, it's going to bring up a thing here. It's going to ask you if you want to join with camera. and you'll hit join with camera. And then they'll ask you if Video Ninja is going to give you permission to use your camera or not. And if you don't want to use your camera, you can hit don't allow. And then make sure you go just choose your microphone for your audio source. And that's literally how it works. Literally how it works. It's not hard. It's not brain science or rocket surgery. And yeah, Kevin, come on up. If you believe Jesus and Paul existed, we would love, 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 love to hear your strongest argument or evidence. Like one way that I know that my children existed is we had the shroud of wet sheets in the morning. One reason why you know children exist. Well, Stones on Fire Apologetics, hop on up, give us your strongest argument. In fact, if you look down there, there's a book. You'll see a book cover. My co-author over here, or not my co-author, my co-creator over here, wrote this book. So go on in, type on up. We'd love to chat with you.
I accidentally had a little bit of a. You see? Well, you see the autocorrect in there. I meant come up. But that too, you might need a little bit of energy. So, so click on up and join the live.
It's not dishonest debate. So first of all, you would have to show us what the dishonest debate ethics are, because we can have an honest debate. We speak with Christians literally every day. Let's see, I literally take 2 days off from streaming. Every other day I'm streaming. Same with Jaren over here. We stream almost every day. But if you're scared for the debates, that's fine. Just remember, it is literally 4v2. 4v2. You guys have the Holy Trinity and yourself. It's just two dirt farmers from Idaho and Texas. Aaron is big scared. Aaron is so scared that he forgot how to use his web browser. Yeah, it's still nobody in there. We do have a few people popping in, but nobody wanting to come up. It's okay. I'd be scared too if I had to try to prove Jesus actually existed. I'd be scared too. You know what? In fact, just to show that it works, I want somebody to type it in. I'm not actually going to bring you up. I won't bring you up, but could somebody type their thing in? And the first one that does it, that's a friendly like Storm, 1.21 gigawatts, somebody like that. As soon as you get it typed in, I'll be able to just and make sure you just put your TikTok username, and I'll just say who it is, and I'll show you how easy this is. Submit to Rome, fellas.
Submit to Rome. All roads lead to submission.
All roads. That link puts a demon in your computer. Nice Jew. I'm the only Jew up here. This guy's a heathen.
What?
Um. Oh, hold on. I did.
Oh, there's someone.
Oh, there. Yep. There's Storm. Storm popped up. So go ahead and try it again. All right, Storm. I'm just gonna hang up on you real quick, but yeah, it did pop you up.
Yep, there's Storm. It might drop you, Jaren. Drop Cyber.
Drop Cyber.
Yeah, well, it looks like they're not wanting to come up.
So, with that said, we'll be calling it a night. We'll be calling it a here. Again, the fit for this evening was rum. I used I went with Kraken.
I had Spirit de Cruz from Pensacola, Florida. A mom and pop little distillery over there in Pensacola. I took a, well, technically, I guess Gulf Breeze, Florida. They were down there near the. You were at that base, weren't you?
Which one?
The one there in Pensacola.
No. So I was so the first base I was formally stationed at, not counting boot camp. It was in Washington State. I can't actually give the name of it though, because I guarded the nation-ending boom booms that go on submarines. So if you live in that state, you know what I'm talking about. The second
Gigawatts.
state I
Yeah.
was stationed in, the second state I was stationed in was Camp Pendleton. I was at Camp Pendleton in California, and then I did a lateral move to Crash Fire Rescue. So I spent 3 months over in San Angelo, Texas, because that's where the school for that is at. I learned during that 3 months that I have no intention of ever living in that godforsaken heat ever. Um,
That is San Angelo. That is not DFW. To anybody who is wondering, DFW does get pretty hot though.
But I was in San Angelo for about 3 months going through aircraft firefighting school. And then I finished out the remainder of my 3 years left in the Marine Corps, totaling out to 9 years at Cherry Point, North Carolina. And then I was medically retired from the military due to injuries sustained in Iraq while I was in the infantry. But there was some training that we were doing when I was a firefighter that aggravated the injury. Um, well, Jaren shouldn't be muted. What do you mean Jaren's muted?
What? En, tu,
Oh yeah, you're popping
tre,
up on here. You're not muted.
fire, fem, sex, sju, åtta, ni,
All right, yeah,
ti.
they're saying you're fine.
Okay.
But anyways, hopefully next week, Christians, you'll have more courage. You'll come up to debate these topics. If you're not hearing Jaren on TikTok, you might need to put something in your right ear, unfortunately. It's the way Video Ninja goes sometimes.
Yeah, apparently it's got
I'm
me with a right wing slant, a hard right slant.
So I'm going to work on that. So there is a way where I can make bringing people up a lot easier. However, I want the setup to be me and Jaren up top, the person we debate on the bottom. And the other way that I can bring them up, it seems to want to put us like 1, 2, 3 side by side. And I'm not a fan of that. So I can try to work with that, see if I can get that figured out. But if I run it that way, you'll be able to hear Jaren in both ears. But with that said, we will be calling it a night. It was a fantastic evening hanging out with you all tonight. If you're not already, go follow R&R on YouTube. The importance is getting this on YouTube. Go follow it on YouTube. Link is in the bio. And I will probably be adding the R&R guest link also to YouTube or to the profile, to the bio, so you'll be able to just go in there and click it. But with that said, any last words, Jaren?
Nej,
Famous
nej.
last words.
Bara många tack och vi ses imorgon.
And
I
thus
go ahead.
And thus far this week, our fits have been, let's see, we have done whiskey. We have done, what did we do last week? Vodka. And this week has been rum. Send us messages as to what you think our fit will be. And I think these might end up being our 4 fits moving forward. We might run a surprise if we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. If we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, we
Just
might
straight
run
Jaeger.
yeah, straight Jaeger, straight absinthe.
old school absinthe.
Yes, old school. That won't be a debate stream though.
Yeah,
Jaren, you've got Jesus growing off your nose.
Yeah, we need Giga like constantly with like 911 like ready to dial, just like, oh, there they go. All right, here you go.
You know what? Maybe next week, so we rounded off, with four different fits. Maybe next week we should really go with like boxed wine. I'm not a wine guy. I'm not a wine guy, but boxed wine. What do you think?
I think I might be able to get a box of wine. Yeah. And just like,
Okay, so just straight. No glasses, no nothing. Just straight drinking it.
all over. It just starts, or just just the sloppiest box wine drinkers you'd ever seen. No one would come up. Like they'd be afraid. They'd be like, we're we're gonna avoid
Who the
whatever
heck
the
is
hell
gonna?
that is. Yeah.
These guys are straight drinking boxed wine from the box. We ain't debating them.
They're crazy as fuck.
Or
That
Chaos
Cyber,
Engine, just
he'd
one
punch a horse.
Chaos Engine, just one long straw from the box to mouth. Gigawatts wine coolers. Gigawatt. We wear cowboy hats. Let us know when the last time you saw somebody wearing cowboy hats drink a wine cooler.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
message us either on Reason and Rebellion or on our private accounts. Um, Give us a message. What do you think our fit for next week would be? Right now, I'm leaning more towards boxed wine, but let us know what you think. But I think that'll be our fit. Is we're gonna rotate between whiskey, vodka, rum, and whatever next week ends up being. And then if there's a case where maybe Jaren decides to run something else, maybe
Goldschlager.
we'll run with that. Wait, what's that?
Tequila.
Tequila. If you want to do, I'm down for
No.
tequila. I'm not a fan of
I
tequila.
no, no.
When so Jose Cuervo and I tend to get in fights a lot. So
Let's think. Oh man. Yeah, no, I don't. Gin, there's gin. It's not too terribly bad.
was it on your live? I think it was your live where you're talking with the guy who is like a master of a certain kind of alcohol, and you
Yes.
guys were asking him about the worm, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, the worm thing is only because
You drank it
Americans."
all.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, if you reach the bottom, then yeah, you're gonna see all kinds of stuff.
but it's literally an American.
Yeah,
They added the worm because of Americans.
yeah, yeah. Silly.
But anyways, everybody, thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. Um, we're at 2 hours 25 minutes. We will see you all tomorrow night. I don't know when I will be live next on my live. It'll definitely be at least Sunday on my normal schedule. You might see me live some other nights if I get bored. Jaren, are you going live tomorrow?
Well, I believe so. I believe so. Yeah, earlier on in the
Yep.
day. Yeah.
All right. And for the 5 viewer gang, rise up on YouTube.
Hell yeah, 5 viewers. Hey,
And let's
all
see.
5 count. All 5. Thank you very much for all 5 of you.
And we do Adele, I see you over on YouTube. Adele is saying love the hats. We love the hats as well. I grew up literally from the age of 3 wearing hats every day from the age of 3. I also grew up. Well, I can't find my actual Z. Where did those things go? So this is my talis. This is a prayer shroud. But yeah, I also grew up wearing these from the age 3 as well. So yeah, so wearing hats. I always just kind of feel weird when I don't wear hats. Just weird to me. Um, but Adele, thank you for hanging out with us. Tenebris, everybody on YouTube. Gloom. We got Tenebris. And everybody over there. Thank you everybody from TikTok. We appreciate you. Who had a green hat? Does somebody have a green hat?
A green hat?
Oh, the taco hats. Maybe next week we'll wear taco
Oh,
hats. We do have. So the drink that I had today was a rum storm. It's a base off of Moscow Mule. It's ginger beer with rum on top with some lime in there. Oh, yeah, yeah. Hold on, hold on, hold on.
like the punk looking thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's talking about my Cyberlocks.
This looks like something out of a Mortal Kombat or something.
Mortal Kombat. Do 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 do.
Test your might.
What's my favorite Star Wars character? I got that too. I'll be right back. I'll show you my favorite Star Wars character.
I swear to Darwin. If he comes back with like Jar Jar ears or some shit like that, I will shit a chicken. Just right here, live on air. Oh God. That's boba. Oh snap. It's got the viewfinder and everything. That's pretty awesome.
So it is Boba Fett, and not because I owe him $20.
But mostly because I owe him $20.
Yeah, mainly because I owe him $20.
My favorite
And
Star Wars
that's like a
character.
real life. I owe Boba Fett $20 in real life. I do in fact owe Daniel Logan $20 in real life. Fun fact.
My
If you want to know a little bit into the life of Nicholas, I owe Boba Fett $20.
I don't know who my favorite Star Wars character is. It's been a while since I've. When I was a kid, I really liked Jar Jar, but that was when I was a kid.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
But I can't. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question.
So
That is a
so
good
what
question.
is your favorite movie or film or sorry, movie or TV series, and what's your worst favorite?
My favorite TV series?
Well, your favorite movie or TV series. Like if you had to pick like your favorite Star Wars, what would it be?
Oh, Star Wars. Specifically Star Wars. I thought you opened it up to everything. I was like, God damn. Um, okay, as far as like Star Wars goes, my favorite is Rogue One. I loved Rogue One. Rogue One. I thought it was great. The beauty about it, what made it really cool is that not only did it, you know, fill in some gaps for people and some issues, but also they didn't have a sequel. So they didn't have to worry about like stretching out the story or anything like that. They could tell a complete story with the characters
You
and
know,
everything.
I had a lot of respect for. I loved Rogue One. I loved it. My favorite.
I can tell you my least favorite was episode 8. Um it was so incredibly bad that I never even watched episode 9.
Same with me. I never watched episode 9 either. I was
I
like,
was like, no, I checked out whenever like Leia came back because I was like, oh, okay, that's how they got rid of that character. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of a pretty beautiful kind of send off, if you will, to some extent. But then she comes back, and I'm like, what? Like, why did you do that? Like, what was that all about? It was ridiculous.
yeah, when Leia. So when I watched, I don't remember the name of the episode, but it was episode 7. Episode 7, I watched it opening night in the theaters. And for those who don't know, I used to be, I'm not anymore, but I used to be a member of the 501st. So if you don't know what the 501st is, they're like this worldwide Star Wars costuming organization. I used to be a member of that. Um, and we watched that episode when it first came out, and I loved it. I thought, I'm like, this is awesome. And then I watched it a second time once the adrenaline wore off, and I'm like, this is literally just plagiarism of A New Hope. It's literally just plagiarizing A New Hope. Um, and that kind of killed it for me. But in episode 8, again, I mentioned it earlier on Jaren's live, when Leia suddenly turned into Mary fucking Poppins and came back down, I was like, no, this is ridiculous. During the Clone Wars animation, one of the key points on there was Jedi literally being unalived because they can't survive in space. The vacuum of space unalives these Jedi. And now we have Leia suddenly able to survive because of the Force. Like, no, miss me with the shit. This is garbage.
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty bad. There was only one scene in that entire movie that I was like, okay, that was pretty cool, and that's where the ship goes through the other ship at like in like hyperspace or whatever light speed or whatever it was. Just it goes through. I was like, oh, okay, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I just it was awful. It was absolutely dreadful.
Yep. And I also wasn't a fan of the Luke story arc. You have this boy who is this happy-go-lucky, oh, that's not a moon, that's a whole we're fine, we're gonna be fine, to going what they turned him into.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not Luke. That's not Luke. Luke was the person who is always optimistic. And even Mark Hamill, before he was threatened with lawsuit. If you don't know, Mark Hamill got threatened with lawsuit. Mark Hamill was shit talking that whole thing for a long time. Like, I didn't want to do it. I hate what they did to Luke, but they made me do it.
Yeah.
And then yeah, the whole the way I hated Ray. I hated Ray. How Ray was freaking Mary Sue. I hated how they made Ray a Mary Sue. I think it's much better if they would have had Ray actually have an arc where she has to learn and she's actually failing. We didn't get that. She was a Mary Sue. Um,
As soon as in The Force Awakens, um what's his face? Um what does he call himself? Ben Kenobi, whatever he calls himself. Um as soon as he took his helmet off. What does he call himself? I'm getting
yeah,
confused with
Ben Kenobi
It's Ben
or
Kenobi
Ben
is his name.
Solo, Ben Solo, Ben
Solo.
Solo.
Or yeah, not Ben Kenobi. Yeah, Ben Solo. But when he takes his mask off, what does he call himself?
Kylo
Kylo
Ren.
Ren. That's it. Yeah, Kylo Ren. So when he takes his mask off, I was like, okay, well, there we go. He's going to end up turning good. That's like I already know his arc now because you took the mask off. Because the entire point within a lot of these movies is they get away with a lot of like death on screen if you have a mask on, like if you're not visibly human. So like stormtroopers can get blasted the hell of pieces because like they have masks on. That's just kind of how it works because you don't feel for those people. You feel for the rebels because they have their faces showing, but the stormtroopers cover their faces, so you don't feel for them. They're the bad guys. So with Kylo Ren, he takes his mask off, and I'm like, oh, all right. Well, I guess he's gonna be good at some point. He's just gonna like come back around.
Right.
Yeah, no shit. Like you see his face. Like it's silly.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm in the same boat. I have not watched the last episode. I was like, as a matter of fact, if it wasn't for my kids, I probably would have walked out as soon as Mary Poppins possessed Leia. I probably would have walked out then and been like, "Give me my money back. This movie's trash." But I was with my kids and they were loving it. So those are my worst favorite. But my favorite though, it's really a toss up between um Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back. It's really a toss up between them. Um I lean more towards Empire. I think Empire Strikes Back. I think I like that a little bit more, but it's a toss up between the two.
Makes sense. Well, I've got to hop off, but thank you very much for everybody for coming and hanging out with us.
Yep, and we will see you all next week. If you're not following Christ Before Jesus, give the account, the name's right down here. Give that a follow. He'll be live pretty early tomorrow morning from what it sounds like.
Yep.
And Christians, if you are in here and you're being cowards in here, go to his live, give him a follow. What I have going on. Normally Friday and Saturday nights, I spend those with my partner. So we'll see how those are going. But outside of that, we'll see you all next week. And feel like we need like a sign off here. Because we don't hate people here. We just finish hating people here.
And also with you.
And also with you. There we go. And also with you. And see, there you go. So you got DeTaurus there saying Jesus is God, and he doesn't want to hop up. The link's right there, and he doesn't even want to hop up because they cowards. You know what, Marcel? Yes. May the force be with you. That should be our sign off. May the liquor be with you.
Liquor? I barely know her.
They could take that however they want.
All right. See you guys.